There you go. Welcome to the first cohort. I said cohort A, alpha, but it'll be B or beta. See, anyway, maybe not. Thank you very much for inviting this to all happen, Kerry and Corin. And is that a message from Helen? No, not coming through. I should turn off my notifications. There's lots of different things I need to remember to do. I haven't had one of these group Zooms for a little while. I guess what it's all about is us all getting together and promoting our creativity, promoting discussion, promoting the love of photography, helping each other, getting out of problems, and sharing all the unique knowledge that we all have. Because I know there's some very talented people in this group, and quite happy to be part of it, really. And should I be giving you, if you would like to set up your own Patreon pages, we can all yeah. And anyway, but really, I'm here to a little bit out of my comfort zone because of, I get into my head and I start to want to just do some gardening, or in the summer months, I want to do some ceramics but photography was getting a little bit left behind. So when the invitation came through, come on, will you do it? I said yes, okay, I'll do it because it'll help me as well. So when I'm helping you, think that you're helping me at the same time. The best thing I can do, though, that I think that I'm is to look at your work and give comments as that comes. I'll create some lesson plans, and I'm very happy for you to interact with that and encourage going in a certain direction, for you to think about the whole group as a whole. You can all talk amongst yourselves without me. I'm happy to do that, and it's really good that you start to look at each other's work and be not nitty gritty, but trying to find in a sensitive way how to help each other make better photographs. So I've looked at the photographs that were put up, your 5 favorite images. I said, oh, no, I thought, well, who am I to say how to improve your favorite images, because they might not end up being your favorite anymore because I've found something a little bit incorrect with them, or there'll be a suggestion of improvement. You go, oh, but I just like it the way it is. And that's where finding the right words is important, of encouragement. But sometimes questions are often a good way to ask about, the story to me looked like this, but I see in your words that you've said something different, or what Helen has done also, because she's been in these Zooms before. It's great to actually promote the idea of the question. Here I have 2 photographs. Which one do you think works best? And in fact, you might end up saying, well, I prefer one, but I still feel that there's some problems in there because I'm not sure about the subject, and I think people have said that. I think it requires a bit more editing and perhaps going down this line. But probably that's what I'll do when it comes to these little sessions, pull them out and try and give you some solutions from other people's images you may then apply to your own. Or there might be some Photoshop techniques you go, hey, hold on, can you do that again? I really see that works, and I want to know that very simple Photoshop technique. So they won't be highly advanced, pushing the boundaries of Photoshop, but if I need to learn something extra, I will go out and do that, because that'll help me to keep pushing my boundaries. So if I share my screen, but first, is there any questions on that?
No, I was just going to say, as far as the images, I actually put images up looking for that kind of constructive feedback rather than just being because definitely the ones I put up, I wouldn't say were my favorite images, but they're just like my most recent photos that I've made type thing. So yeah. I'm kind of all up for that feedback, and obviously in a constructive and supportive way.
Yeah.
Which you always do anyway. So.
I put up my least shit ones.
Maybe we should make some ground rules.
Yeah, ground rules. Don't demise yourself. Don't put yourself down.
No, I take the ones that I thought were the least worst. That might show so. No, but I know that. I know I've got room for improvement for sure, and so I didn't pick my favorite.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
none of them are my favorite.
Okay, but probably
If that makes sense.
yes. Somewhere along the line, I'll draw some boundaries or some goals, and we'll just see how long this group may go for. You know, we might just keep going for 12 months, but it might only go for 3 months and then have a couple of months off and then come back with more vigor again. So all of those boundaries, you can go in and out of that Patreon group, I believe, to do that. But I'll learn more about that. So there will be a stage where I ask you to put, you know, five images or 8 images together, perhaps in a series, or to as a challenge that I've given you on a specific topic, but whether it be high key or self-portrait or still life, something like that. Because then when we've all got the same boundaries, you can all sort of learn because you're all trying to achieve the same things. So if I share my screen this time, I actually, so here's my screen.
Jackie, can I ask a question?
Yes.
When we put the photos up, what do we, I put them up with nothing, and then I saw people were putting camera information, so I then went and added that.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is probably why I'm here as well. I've never ever looked at camera information, so half the time I don't even know what I'm doing or how I got there. So that's really interesting just to do that first up for me. But then is it useful to put something about how you feel about it or a description, or is it better to just put the photo up, like, and see what comes back?
I think it's better to put a comment up, and I encourage that. I didn't do it right at the start because I just was getting the ball rolling. The reason why it's good to put a comment up about what you're trying to achieve is that maybe people will look at the image first, the photograph. I've got this shot here of from Susan. You know, I don't know if this person is a family member or anything. I can just look at it on.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's my granddaughter.
Okay, and then if it was your granddaughter, then you might, if you did a whole spiel about what you're trying to achieve, then that can sometimes get in the way of me just looking at the shot to see what it communicates to me first up. So I will do a little bit of both. And my internet connection is, let me know if I start to go burglary, if my internet goes down a little bit.
You're kind of lagging a little bit. I'm just wondering if we can all turn our cameras off so that we can just see you and the screen you're sharing. That might help the lag.
Yes, so let's do that. I've got my video off. That's it. And then, yeah, we'll keep.
And also, if whoever's not talking mutes themselves, and we just unmute as we talk.
Okay. Oh, love this. Okay.
Spot the one who's done loads of these.
That's terrific. Okay. All right. So I have, you should be seeing this photograph here of the granddaughter. So as a portrait of people, you know, this is one of there's not many portraits in this whole group. Portraits are quite special because they're always going to be probably the ones that you save first when if your house is burning down, your portraits, because those relationships are really important. Yeah. So Susan, I guess when I came in, I thought the color was quite strong. Those purpley. It's often, you know, it's muted. It's delicate. But I guess technically, or not technically, first up, I want to have a look at it in monochrome, and I'm not sure if you did that, and we'll just see the difference. So I've gone into Nick Silver Flex Pro. It's a great way to see monochrome in a variety of ways quite quickly. When you come into Silverflex Pro, you get a whole lot of presets on the left, and it can be a way of, you know, just flicking through quite quickly and getting a feel for some different looks of the portrait and to see where your eye goes. Through subsequent videos, I'm going to teach you how to make some custom settings. And Helen Moore has just sent me a message. I guess she's on the way soon. Regardless of that, so here I've got some custom ones that I've made along the way. And it's really good point for you to be able to do this, because it's some little starting points of where you like to go with your photography, and instead of always going back to some presets made by others. So perhaps I'll go into my one here called Anchor. So I was obviously made this in Anchor What, and it's got a whole lot of borders and things on it. But for me, seeing this is in monochrome, I'm directly going now, instead of seeing the color, I'm looking at the eyes and the expression a bit more, and I can also see the color tones. It's a bit darker here and a bit lighter over here. So maybe with a control point, I'll make this part of the image just a little bit darker, so my eye doesn't go towards the light. So your eye will go towards eyes, definitely, and then it will go to contrast and light areas. And when the light area was over the edge of the frame, it was pulling my eye away from the face. So you can see how just by pulling that one control point around, it helps to direct the eye. And then maybe just a little bit darker under the chin, or lighter, darker. The darker just gives some volume and roundness to that. So that's gone from quite a dominant color to black and white. So I would encourage you maybe to have a look at some of those portraits in monochrome. And what do you think
Well,
about?
it's funny. It's funny you should say that, Jackie, because I am actually a monochrome person when it comes to portrait. And I have actually done a number of her pictures from that day in monochrome. This particular one is in color, and I should have perhaps, gone with my own instinct, which is to do monochrome, and sent you one of those. And the color one, my granddaughter and I sat down together and we worked out. I was showing her a little bit about Lightroom and showing you what you could do, and we came up with a color scheme we found very pleasing. But I guess you're absolutely right. The color speaks very loudly, and yes, in the monochrome one, the eyes definitely speak louder, especially when I played with the eyes a little. And so yeah, I definitely see what you mean, and perhaps I didn't see it before. I did see the color, and
also I guess you can see this very bright area here under the arm, and you can see how, you can see, and I just brought up the levels. I'm not sure if it's big enough on your screen. The levels on the right here, you can see how it's touching the right hand side. So your eyes will go to areas of light, but by darkening that down, it's become a bit more of a shape. The gesture around her head, I don't really understand. The square is probably like a framing her head, and we are the only other thing, looking under her chin a little bit, but that might be your eye height. So
definitely, I mean, of the photos I could have chosen, even though I felt her chin was a little high and perhaps not enough definition around it. I just like the fact that she looked confident, very confident.
There you go. So a lot of it is down to just capturing that expression. But typically, you might have tried to have the light coming a bit more from the top, and then you would have had definite shape around here, because the face and the neck have become one shape.
Yes.
Like a champagne cork.
I know she's got a long neck anyway, so it just kind of accentuates that. Well, I mean, long necks are good, but
Okay, so cool. So I've got a few open at the top here already, so I'll just go through. I've got one here from Anne. In fact, I picked a couple out from Anne. I had another one of yours, Susan. I'll come back to that. So if we run out of time on the free 40-minute thing, I'll be sending you out another link, by the way, okay, to continue on. That was just a prerequisite to let you know what's going on. So Anne, when I look at this, all of a sudden I've turned my head to the right, and I'm wanting to flip it round. So just going to image rotate, counterclockwise. I'm starting to, for me, I'm finding that easier to read. And as I turn it round, you can see how this dark area here has become a little bit more prominent. And often just turning images around completely, even here, if I go image rotate 180 degrees, you start to see how where things are noticeable again, this area. So this works quite well upside down as well as the vertical. But for me, when it was vertical again, I go clockwise. Oh, there it's at the bottom. The weight's at the bottom. I can still see this here. So I want to get rid of that first up. Not rid of it, but allow me to get rid of it with my stamp tool. I've made a copy layer by pressing Command J on the keyboard, which is a shortcut. And then on the left-hand side, all my tools have come up in Photoshop. I'm looking for the S for stamp tool, clone stamp tool. And I'll just choose an area by pressing I've got a Mac. So on my Mac, it brings up the target, which is the most important thing. So whether it be Mac or PC, as soon as you get the target, you'll know where it's going. And I accidentally zoomed in there. So I'll diminish that. So I've just diminished it at an opacity at the top of 50%. So it means it can still be there, but it's not as dominant anymore, which is one of the key things about photography, is choosing where you want the dominance in your image. And that's, saying, what's the photograph about? And you'll hear Mike and I say that all the time. What's the subject? What's the photograph about? So just by taking away that dominance, I think it's helped.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, for me, if it's more about this one here, there's still a dominance. These two are still having a conversation there. One's still saying, I'm the subject. This one's saying, no, I'm still the subject. So for me, if I was to do a quick copy of this side with the selection tool at the top, I'll just copy that. I'll do that Command J again. Now it's a separate layer. Command T on the keyboard, and then right click. I'm going to flip it horizontally and bring it over here. And then I can also, holding down the Shift key allows me to stretch. So I've just stretched a little bit. It's not going to stay there, Anne, but I'm now going to put a mask on it. So over on that layer 2, I can put a mask, which is the white square with a black dot in the middle. Okay, 10 minutes to go. Okay, then I'll come back. So on that one now, I'm going to go invert. Okay. So the white box is going to become black by going Command I. So that's disappeared, but I'm going to draw it back very softly like an artist, bringing back some of that light, the lights that are in that other image, to diminish the power of the left. So my box is a black box there. I need, on the left-hand side, I need the white on top. So white is over here. So the white is on top. And I go to the brush tool. Along the top, I want to bring it down to maybe 30%. And I'll bring my tool down to the right size by pressing on the brackets. At 30%, I can just start to bring some of that light through that was on the other side. And there it is. So that's one way of lightening an image and bringing in some of what's on the other side of a shot to try and create a sense of harmony. If that, for my eye, that's looking a little bit busy, I can see a little line coming through the back, and it's not quite as good. So I'll just make an adjustment layer. So I'll turn that off by taking the eye off on the right, because a lot of Photoshop work is about trial and error. So these are all another way of creating layers. The top is solid. Here we are, solid gradients and things. We don't use that very much, but I use in here a lot, particularly the curves layer. So in that curves layer, I'm just making the whole image lighter. And as I make it lighter, it's making it feel ethereal and floaty, that kind of thing. Yeah. And
yeah, that's kind of the feel behind it. So that's good.
Yeah, but maybe it's made the right-hand side just a bit too light. So because it's white, and so I'm going to do a different thing. I'm not going to invert that this time. I'll just come over here. I'll put black on top. I go to the brush tool again, and on 21%, just slowly bring this side back where you want the dominance to be again. Because I think it's, you know, it's the contrast of the hard grittiness of those little black fronds against the light ethereal part of the other.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's getting close. There's still now we're getting picky. I'm getting picky. I want to flatten this down. So I go image. Select all, type, layer. Oh, here we go. Find it. Flatten image, so it all becomes one. I'll discard that layer I didn't use. Do another Command J, just so you can do. I can do before and afters. I really want to go. Now it's all about scrutinizing just the little parts. See that little dot in the
Yeah.
corner?
Doing the cleanup.
You totally got to clean up images, whether you do it at 50% and just have a little part of it there. But yeah, the big cleanup, lots of little parts can become softened down. And anything that touches the edge of frame has more power as well. So be mindful of that. Yep. And this little line coming through here, I just cloned that over at 50%, just so the value now is coming from those two strong verticals coming down, and there's just before and after of just those little quick cleanups. But it's really really effective. Okay, and I'll just see what Colin McMahon. Yes, she's probably just said he's running late, not too late. Okay, so I'll do a file, save as over that. Even though these are just the photographs I got off the web, they're just small, but you'd call it edit or stage 2 or something like that. Okay. So Charlotte, I had a couple, so I'll come to this one. Are you all with me still? Yep.
Yep.
Great. The key to this photograph really was the cyclist riding through a foggy morning. And you know, I'm looking at it and I'm feeling that there's a couple of things. The darkest, most contrasty part of the image is actually in your signature. So I think your signature needed to come down in the opacity. So on the opacity of the type layer, just bring that down. And just to remind you, whenever you bring in a type layer, so here's a type layer there, just you can bring down, I'll leave it as that. Oh, yeah. Just go to the opacity and bring it down to a level that suits the photograph, so that it doesn't become too dominant. That's just one quick thing. So that's on that type layer. And terrific like this. Yep, that's good. I can see movement sort of almost all through the photograph, even though it's just a low res. There's a sense of movement as you've panned a little bit, I think, and that's what's made what's close to the camera move a little tiny bit, but not enough. But I still the cyclist you've panned. That's what's giving the cyclist so much power because of that. I got a feeling though there's something about the strength is lost in the fog. So with my curves layer, I'm just going to pull it down to bring some strength back into it, to where the story is, which is the cyclist. So that's my curves layer, and I can now, that's white. If I use my black brush, there's my black brush, very big black brush. I can, because it's important, I think, the story of the fog. Yeah. So I'm just going to, bring back some of that fog, but leave part of the image
Darker.
with the blacks. So I'm just doing little brush strokes constantly just to bring that back, because perhaps there's significance now, I'm saying, in that there's 3 leaves hanging in the air, and there's kind of a nice story to that. I'm going to just pull out that border so it's not distracting for a moment. Yeah, so I think really it was using light and dark again to bring strength to the subject of the picture, and significance. And if there is no significance in the ducks, but you're not sure, I just did a clone stamp again. So S for stamp tool. or this case, I'm going to use the spot healing brush. Yeah, that should be cool.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works. So
I
this
can get rid of the ducks.
we can just get rid of some of those ducks. Come on. Oh, and all that layer. That was in. Maybe I didn't select.
Jackie, how did you do the because I totally knew that that's what you would want to do with the photo with the darks and put the fog up there. So, but I didn't know how to do that in Facebook. I mean, in what's it called, Photoshop. So how did you get that drawing out the color of the trees in the fog?
Yep. Okay. So that was this adjustment layer here.
Yeah,
That one. I'm going to turn it on and off.
that's super small. I can't hold on.
Yeah, super small. Oh, I can't make that bigger. But
I know that's right. It's all good. I've got
so
that's
on the
bigger for me.
right hand side, with in Photoshop, there's a little circle, round circle. One side's black and one side's white. Clicking on that opens up a myriad of objectives. Some being brightness of the image, which is all here. The next lot is all about color, or black and white. So I mainly use those two. And all I did, you'll see me 90% of the time go to curves. So I went to that curves layer, and when I've clicked on that, it's opened up the properties icon. This one here called properties. And then I can make things lighter and darker. So you can make a curves adjustment to make things darker, and then make a separate one for light. So that the earlier one I did to make it darker. To see how light I can go. Yeah, it's interesting because
I've got a tendency to go real high key, as you know, but I just then you put the fog, because I'm familiar with the curve, but then you kind of fogged it up.
Yeah. So then what I did was, because that box is all white, I went to the black brush. So I've clicked on the white, made sure it's got little corners around it, those little corners. And then clicked on the brush, and it's black. Yep, that's it. It's black brush. And then I made the brush bigger, and then it was just a matter of me painting it back in. But I was painting it in at a percentage, so it wasn't too clunky.
Right.
Now,
no, I can play with that.
Yeah. Now, anytime I like, I can click back onto the graph instead, and because I didn't make any changes to this one. There it is. You can go back and make it, change it from where you were. So, thank you. Part 2. Yay! Right.
Shall we turn off videos and mute?
Turn off videos and mute. Okay, good one. Okay. Oh, leave myself up there. Right. Oh, share screen. Desktop. Yeah. Okay. Video. So we're in that shot. So we're complimenting. We know that shot. We're going on to the next one. All right. So I have a couple of from Corin. Corin, you said, I'm not going to say what you said before, because these shots are really they're good. I know what the subject is. I find it creative. Corin just sent me a message. That's all right.
That's about Patreon video, sorry. For later.
You can turn off my notifications. But there's one little spot, which is here. I find this little spot, that one little dot there.
It is annoying now that you pointed out. Yeah.
It's like, wow, why would that be there? So all I'm doing, because it's already in a frame, I've chosen the top left-hand corner of this rectangular marquee. And if I zoom in a little bit, going Command ++. Come on, there you go. I can then just come down the edge of there and make sure it's exactly on the edge of frame. And I can also use the arrows on the keyboard to make that spot on. And now press S for stamp and just stamp that out. So once again, you can leave it there as a percentage just by stamping at 50%, or go the whole hog, because you got to go, well, does it need to be there? Why would it be there? And if it has no suggestion, then Command B, then that's gone. So I reckon that's a really effective photograph. It feels like the depth of field is really good. It's sharp here on the edge, and also sharp enough to go to the tree and then the building beyond. The tone of the sky, there is interest in the sky. There's some clouds in there. Yeah, quite good. Your frame, your frame is, you've chosen a little skinny drop shadow. It's fine. It's all around the edge. It's not distracting, and your type is not detrimental to the picture. It might be a little bit dark, but that's fine. I have to actually zoom in and read it. New York City reflections, but that's okay as well. Some people, you might have. I go in and out of having big captions and little captions. They go all over the place because that's fine. So, but they're all the choices you've made. Good choices. Good shot. It suits the square. It's like an eye. It's great. And this one.
Okay, I said this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The silhouette.
It's a cracker. Yeah.
No, not that one. The other one.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, no, it's a great shot too. And I'm going to how can I improve on this? Here we got Congress Avenue Bridge. It's all quite readable, and this you got the small little key line. Remember, you can always change that recipe up to suit the photograph, but that's fine.
How would you change it? I mean, what would suit that
That
picture
would only
better?
be if you.
I always do that one.
Yeah. So if I just crop this down, do the old how to make a border from our workshops. So there's the original, and looking around the original, just making sure, scrutinize, making sure there's no there is a little tiny dog in here. So before printing, you always just check that sort of thing. Little tiny dot. There you go. Get rid of that little. There's a little tiny. That made it look worse. It's over here. So instead of doing that, I'll use this tool, which will just do a little sample. That's better. Right. Having the right tool. There's a really lovely dark glow around the edge, and I've got rid of that corner again. So I'll just do it I'll do it from here. I'm not going to crop it off this time. Command J is copy paste, and then Option Command C does the border. So if I do 2 centimeters, there's the extra border. And now you can either go down to the FX at the bottom, or just right click and go to blend options. So I typically right click and do that. And here is the drop down menu that comes with from there, and I'll just click on drop down menu. In fact, I've got 3 different recipes. See, I can click on that one, I can click on the second one, or I can click on the third one. So some depends how big my image is. And so if I clicked on that, I'll just leave it where it is. And double click on that drop shadow. It opens up that next panel that gives you your direction and the distance. See if as I make those bigger and smaller, harder and softer, or size. And so typically what happens, wherever you've left it from last time, it'll be there. And you can also move it around. I can hold my finger on this and move that around. So we're getting 2 drop shadows on that image now. So you can see the difference, which could be a good idea. On the top, on this angle, there's an angle here. I'll turn that around to the right. And so you've got, I'll get rid of the corners because I got my crop tool up. So there's a different kind of drop shadow. See, it's softer, where the one that you were using was more of a grey pin line. That's all. So you can.
I'm lazy with it. I just use the one I used last.
Yeah, but you can change it up, and you can end up go plus and have a couple. You can quickly not being very lazy at all. You just got 3 options, and you'll go, oh, I'll use that one, or that one. So you can create.
You set those up as presets. Is that what you did?
Yeah. So it just I'll do that again. Option. Oh no, I'll just right click, blending option. Or I could have just clicked on that effects again there. Come down, that's the one that I used. You see here it says
plus.
plus. I can go plus, and I can make another another variation of that. So it sits in that layer style. And that's it. You sure? FX. Yeah. Plus, or you can some of these outer glow and go on. I hardly ever use that in the bin. I never use inner glow. So I've just left this. I've left all these up here very lazily, but now I've just got those 3 drop shadows. But if I wanted another one, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just plus. So set it up. If not, I'll come back to you next week on that. Okay. So yeah, great shot, and you don't have to do anything else to it. You can just leave it. You print it is the main thing, or you can experiment with this. Just and it's always great. Command I, invert. Command Z, undo. What was I going to do? Command. Okay, cool. We've already got it. A drop shadow. I'm gonna get rid of that. Command J. Command T. Make one bigger. Yeah, come in closer, and then maybe bring down some opacity and get a different feel for doing the old multiple exposure thing as I would. But no, you don't have to do anything with it. Just leave it as is. Go out and make some more. Yeah, sort of bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I do like all the little conversations happening on there. These 2 couples, and then these 2 couples, and then there's obviously a couple walking past through the gap. Yeah, really good. Yeah, nice.
Jackie, can I just ask about borders and copyright and titles? I've never done any. Should we? Is it a good idea to do these for this purpose when we're putting them online, or is it easier to have them without for this critique kind of thing we're doing?
Well, I think these ones happen to be like that because they were just sourced off pictures that Corin had already posted.
Yeah. So if we're making new ones, what would be the best idea for our sharing?
For sharing through and onto into our group, it'd be easier without them, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to see if I was to go to our group. So here's our group on our Facebook page. I've created a little post in there, and they look finished though when they've got the whole drop shadow, and I've been able to give comments on that though, saying that maybe the shadows, maybe the names are a bit too obvious. So I'm not going to make any hard and fast rules. What's good about posting?
It's just good to know what works.
Yeah, when you
also I hadn't. Sorry.
Yeah, so now that we are in Facebook, you can see how they stand alone as a picture. They look like they're finished. Where this one of Helen's is fills the frame, and you don't see any white edge borders here. You don't see any of the white edge of the border. So it's a way of finishing it off, saying here's the finished item. So
I think also the size, like with Helen's one that's large and mine were too large, you actually can't see them properly because I hadn't resized them at all. I just grabbed them and put them up very quickly. So I could see that actually I should be sizing them down for Facebook.
Yes.
So they will actually show full frame properly. So I realized that's something I've got to do.
Great. Well, all those things are good.
Hey, sorry, I've got to leave. I've got to work Zoom now, but this has been awesome and I'll catch you next time.
Okay, and I'll put these trials up and you'll see them. You can look at the rest of it later. Thanks, Anne. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. All right, there you go. Okay. All right, so that's cool. All right, good to will I show Dan a few photos? So on the desktop, I put a few images in here. Cohort review, done those, done that. Helen's not here. I can't show that. Kerry, did you want to? Will I talk about this one? There.
I don't know if you feel like you can do something with it and add to it. Yeah, definitely talk about it. But if it's not,
all right. So really, all I did with this first one, was all about the mood, and I thought maybe making it lighter, perhaps wasn't going to change it much.
I like it lighter too.
Perhaps there was a big space. There's a space on the right, but the space, I don't know. The space is balanced out. I mean, your sense of composition felt good. The base that but I sort of kind of got a feeling I wanted to come into these details, the really interesting part of it, which I think it's sort of in there. So coming in quite close.
I took quite a number of shots and all different ones, like you're saying. I did monochrome, I did close up, where you can just see the, you know, bits and pieces of it. So definitely had fun today.
Right. So maybe the next time you put up, when you do the whole range, put up 5 or 6 of a similar kind of the exploration of it, and then we'll all get something different out of it and be able to offer suggestions about what we like most about it or how we feel. But as I've come in like this, it almost, for me now, it's a bit more like a portrait because of the duality here. We've got 2 eyes and this kind of mouth, and it's kind of much quirkier, where before it seemed I was questioning all the space on the right hand side. And there's and then making it lighter, and then maybe I'll just do another adjustment layer just to see. Pull it up even lighter again, because how much detail do you need to have in different spots? Because something doesn't have to look like it was. You can change its reality. So I go back to that square. It's white. I go to the left hand side, put a black brush up, and you can still bring things back. Command Z, didn't like that.
Definitely going to love that brush then.
Yeah, so just more subtle. So I'm just brushing in a little bit more into the light, perhaps. And I can always change that. So I've got light and dark. Go back to white. Make the brush smaller, just to make these yellow bits come out again. Yeah. So making the eye go to where you want the subject, the eye, the viewer's eye to go to, and so it's not quite right, because it feels like this needed right in the middle somehow, or more like maybe space down the bottom. So I've just pulled that down. I'm in the crop tool. There's the crop tool here, and along the top it says delete, but I want to click on. Oh, it's not allowing me because it's not a background. I can't do the content aware at the moment, so I'll just press return. Because I've got all these layers. I wasn't actually in the layer that had the information, photographic information.
Right. Yeah. I'll
just flatten that now. There we go. Oh, and I'll go to my selection tool. I'll just select that, and I've overlapped it a tiny little bit into the blue, and then I can right click, fill, and then you have the choice of white, black, or content aware. Okay. Command D. So now it's more like a portrait again. There's our little border, the white border, getting ready to post. So it looks very different to that original. Yeah,
I like it. It's cool.
It's become quirky and a personality, and it looks like it's going somewhere different. Yeah. So bridge. Let's go from that to that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, he's a really cheeky little person in there. Well, here it's a anyway, and likewise for this, the subject is moving to the left of frame, is going out of the frame. If I just crop this down this time, I want to flip it round. There's the shot. It looked like this little furry creature. It's moving to the left of frame. A good thing to do often is I'll just go Command J again, because it's made a copy layer. And layers on top of don't have a lock on them. See, so there's some things you can't do with backgrounds. You can double click it to make it a layer, but I often just make a new layer like that, and then I can Command T and right and flip it horizontally, just to see what it looks like going one way or the other way. So that way is into the back, into the past. This way is into the future, or just playing around. If I click on the layer, it'll bring up an option for have a look at all the different.
I quite like the double. The one that's doubled. It looks like that that picture that's like the brain scan or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so that's linear dodge or lighten.
Little bat.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So that can take you
Okay.
into a whole little different pathway. And it's often, that's the fun part of photography. You make something and then taking it even further. And I can move it around. It's free because it's sitting on the top. I'm using the move tool to do that, which is the top left-hand icon. If you do want it touching, but it is, this sort of look is something you see a lot of. It's now like I think it's got 2 little eyes and it says sheep. Actually, now it is a sheep.
Yeah. Oh wow, it is. Oh my gosh. Would you then get rid of the or was that too much? If you would then get rid of the what do you call it? The stem.
The stem. No, it's easy. So if I put that into one layer, Command E has flattened it down.
That's so cool.
I'll do a Command J, so I've got one at the top. S, the stamp tool. Just select, I'll put it at 100%. Yeah, get rid of the stem. And when I'm choosing the stamp tool, like you remember, try and choose from different areas so that it doesn't look like you've used it. And then when you come in closer to do really fine details, you have to go to a harder brush and a smaller. Hard and small will give you you need the right blend so that the softness is the same. Yeah, so you just got to choose that sort of thing. And now, because it is a background, when I'm using the crop tool, I can click on content aware this time. And if you wanted a little bit more space around this, just to the eye, a little bit more at the bottom, then I've visually brought it down and now press just return, and it's just popped all that.
That's so cool. I love that.
There you go. I'll save those. And I'm gonna copy. Copy.
Very, very cool. I like it.
Wrong button. Okay, save. Okay. Right, Helen's not here, but I'll look at some of Helen's photographs now. Oh, okay. Helen asked about these 2 photographs because she thought about putting them up. Helen is quite active in the PSNZ and puts work up in competitions and things all the time. She's actually also on the committee now, and so she participates a lot. So when I saw this photograph in architecture, classic sort of architecture shots often require the verticals to be square. So I'll just do a Command J, Command T for transform, right click and click on skew. So I really want it square. First thing I'd be doing with architecture is making the choice of keeping things square. Yep, excuse me. I quite liked it with the human element. I thought it gave a sense of scale, but already just making that change has helped. It's still a bit wonky over here. Command T again, and I can maybe go to warp. So in warp, you can move things around quite differently.
Excuse me, Jackie, sorry, how did you do the warp?
Okay, yep. So I'm going to press return so you can see it again from the beginning. This is in a layer, Command T to transform, and then right click, and it brings up all these different options. Scale, rotate, skew, and there's warp. And that's what warp does. It just allows you to have much more control over all the different areas of the print. So that's all it was. I'll press return. If there was a specific, very small area, oh God, I'm dying, that you wanted to fix, say just this one box, I would just select that little box, go Command J on it, so it's transformed. It's just its own little transform. See, it's much smaller now, and I'll zoom in, do the warp in there, and it's now quite small and specific. Allows you to do little tiny details and move it around. Yeah, which could be because I just did that. I'm just going to do that because maybe that's what makes this, that all of a sudden makes that more interesting. If a couple of these windows are warped in weird ways, because it's now different from. So there's those two. I have to go back to the correct layer, go back to that copy layer, Command J, Command T, and then right click just on those. So I'm just doing, yeah, maybe all those windows should be logged out. So perhaps Helen, if she were to go through and change up this interior landscape to be not what the architect did, but some an architecture that Helen's promoting, and that and people go, well, oh, I've seen that, but it looks really different. It's not really how it
Totally.
was. Yeah.
I
So
wonder, my question is, if she was wanting to enter that into a competition, are you allowed to do that sort of thing in a competition?
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Just if
Yeah.
if it says open, and that means that you can do all sorts of warping and
Okay.
changing and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But if it's in documentary, or the specific categories allow for either in camera capture, which you're not allowed to do this in, but
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
if it's open, it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
And you have some competitions say keep to the authenticity of the image,
Right. Yeah.
and that means that
I like it with the warps. It makes it quite more interesting.
it does. Yeah. How do we make it more interesting? Oh, I'm having problems here. I'm in that. I'm trying to use my stamp tool. Because I want to clone that one. Yeah. And the clone still. Oh yeah, that's there. Oh, I accidentally made a clone that went across the screen. You see this? We're about to stop again in 10 minutes time. So it's amazing how, yeah. So there's a little action that's gone through there. To see where that action happens, there's a little icon up here with little boxes and an arrow. It shows me what I've done. You can see what I accidentally did. I went through and put a line through it. Now, whenever you make an accident in Photoshop, it's always good to go, oh, is that good or not? Do I like it? Do I like that I've accidentally put that clone through there? Because that might have made it different as well. So I'm just going to go with it. Because that's, once again, changed it up. So I'm now just doing some random little lines. And it's, once again, becoming much different from the original to becoming more of an artwork that's about Helen and all the decisions she makes, because photography is all about decisions and choices. And now that I'm doing that, I go, oh, actually, I'll do a Command J on that copy there, Command J. I have to press return first. No, Command J. Yeah, there it is. Because I'm going, oh, I'm not sure I like that person there anymore, because it's become something else. So I could just have a look to get rid of her to see, yeah, if that's better, yeah, much more interesting I find, to make something that's yours instead of just a photograph of a place. Yeah, anyway, so I've got rid of that person, even though I thought she was good at the start. But now, as we've progressed through, so all those little layers help you to work out whether your decision was good or not. And if I save this as a Photoshop file, it will save all those layers, and I can come back later and go, oh, that didn't quite work, or I just want to fix up that little spot, which is all the finicky parts now. Of coming in close and going, oh, okay. Now I know, okay, I've got to be really careful. Before I was going at 100 miles an hour. I really want to just make sure that line matches up and looks like architecture. Yeah, and come in. Like now that I'm getting in closer, I have to use a harder brush and a smaller brush to make sure that sort of links up and looks right. It needs to be a bit softer. So you've got to go in and out to find the right kind of brush to brush with. And if I want to do a straight line, when you're using the stamp tool or any tool, so stamp tool, click, you hold down the shift key. So I'll do one click and then holding the shift key, it will do a straight line. I'll show you. Oh, there's a straight line. Click. See how it makes straight lines? Yeah. So straight lines are created by holding down the shift key. So a good thing to do. Just going back in that history there. So Helen will go like, yeah, just leave it that, Jackie. I'll enter that. I'll just do a save as. Just written by Jackie. That would be funny. No, I wouldn't do that. But that's how, you know, you get excited. You go, oh yeah, that was good, but now it's totally unique. I think much more fun. Yeah. All right. Well, that's just one. So I'm coming back. Let's turn on your videos just for a moment to say goodbye. I think let's do that. Where is my click video? That video. So thanks for turning up today. And I hope
Thank you. That was great.
Hope that time I think is going to be good, and really happy for people to reach out and do specific things, and maybe, you know, put them up in the Patreon, and we'll just keep that ball rolling. I don't want it to be stressful, or for me, or for you. I want you to feel like you're in the right place, and there's no pressure, but that you're growing and learning, and you're just communicating with each other. If you know, you can always just opt out. Say if you're going to opting out for a week, just say, you know, turn off you know, the old phone and the notifications. But let's not all get stressed and have a good time from it. Yeah,
it's cool, Jackie. Thanks heaps.
Right.
So do we just go and like just put up photos onto the Patreon or onto the Facebook page? Which one?
I think the Facebook page is going to be better for just the chit chat and for the putting up the metadata, which is find the metadata, and the recent conversations are going to pop to the top. It's going to get populated with all sorts of things. Just come across things that I'm going to try and go through and make some comments about everybody's photos, like I started to do with yours, Kerry. Yeah, well, those today. It just puts it in cement, and it helps me with my words. All the practice is always good to write about.
I love the yin yang explanation.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, when I
was
looked yeah,
and very philosophical in your meditative moment.
That's right. And Charlotte would say also, we all need to breathe.
Well, we all do to live, don't we?
breathe, nice deep breaths and relax and enjoy it. Yeah. So thanks for turning up.
Super cool. I'm really
So
grateful.
do we? Yeah, thank you. That's really good. Are you going to give us some homework or something now? What happens next?
I'll post the homework. Okay. And I'm going with the flow a little bit. I try and see what feels like fun at the moment, and we'll just, you have to wait for that intrepid moment of mine. But I'll bring up that next little challenge. But I know I'm going to see Corin in a couple of weeks, coming down for a day.
Are you in the country, Corin, or in Texas?
I am. I'm in Christchurch.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and
I hope that I travel a lot for work. I don't want to stuff people around on a Zoom meeting, so I'll fit in when I can, and I'll just watch if I have to.
Yeah,
it's probably the easiest way to go.
Yeah, and if you miss out on something, then we just do a little 20-minute session on a few photos, pop it up.
Okay, cool.
That kind of thing. We'll keep it moving along. Okay. All right. Ask any questions.
Yep.
Go anywhere. Please. Okay. Thank you very much. See you later, alligator.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. See everybody. Nice to meet you guys. See you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.